Hey folks, it's Ben Armstrong, and I want to talk to you about end times prophecy and Babylon, the Babylon of Revelations. And is this Babylon actually representing America? It's a very interesting question. You can come to your own conclusions, but I'm going to lay out why I believe that America is the end time Babylon. First of all, the end time Babylon has to be the economic hub of the entire world during the end times. So if we are entering the end times, then there would be no doubt that America fits that bill right now. Of course, if this isn't the end times, then it could be some other country. But if this is the end times and we are entering them, then America already fills that description of the end time Babylon. It is the economic hub of the world where all countries get their wealth basically through this country. And without this country, the world's wealth will collapse. And in fact, we will see that the Babylon in Revelation 17 and 18, it has an economic collapse, and the whole world has to cast its gold and silver in the streets because they become worthless. Does this fit America? Well, it does. But let's look more closely at what the Bible really says here. It describes, and I'm just going to generalize here and not go into the specific verses, but you can look this up yourself. It describes Babylon as, first of all, a harlot. The harlot is pictured at the beginning of Revelation 17 as riding the beast. Now, we all know the beast represents the Antichrist, but it also represents an end-time world system, so it has dual meanings. The harlot is clothed in purple, which represents royalty, but it also represents religion, and many scholars will say that the harlot is a representation of not just a country, because written on her forehead, it is written mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots. So we see that this harlot is also connected with Babylon, are kind of one and the same. It is the church within Babylon. Now, many scholars have described the harlot as the Catholic Church because she is pictured as being very wealthy. She is a wealthy harlot, clothed in purple, so they were looking for a religion that was wealthy. I don't believe that this is necessarily true. I believe it is describing overall all of the Christian church, especially the Christian church within Babylon. That is why it is written on her forehead. She is a wealthy church, but she is called a harlot because what is a harlot? A harlot is somebody who whores themselves out. They are married, and in the Bible, the church is the bride of Christ. We are married to Christ, but we are harloting ourselves out to the world. That is the picture of her. She is drunk on the blood of the saints. You say, how does the church become drunk on the blood of the saints? Well, first of all, we have abortion, but secondly, we fund a lot of the nations that are persecuting Christians today. I mean, China, without us, wouldn't be able to persecute the Christians that they do. It is a secret sin that is within the harlot. It is described later in Revelations, where you can see that this is a sin that is hidden, but is discovered. But ultimately, we have the harlot riding the beast, who is rich and drunk. So she's in this drunken state, and it says she's drunken on the blood of the saints, but she is in this drunken state, so she's unaware that she is riding the beast. Now, you would assume that this means that the harlot and the beast are good friends and are collaborating with one another. But later on, it describes the beast as hating the harlot. It wants to make her barren and desolate and devour her flesh. So we have a picture of the Antichrist coming through this Babylon of end times, hating Babylon, or the harlot of Babylon, and wants to devour her, make her barren, and destroy her utterly and completely. So we should be looking for an Antichrist-type figure rising up. Now, this is backed up by Isaiah 14, which talks about the beast being the king of Babylon. Now, a lot will say, well, wait a minute, doesn't the Antichrist come out of the Roman Empire? Yes, I believe that's true, too, because I believe the end-time Babylon is part of the revived Roman Empire, which I believe America will be part of the revived Roman Empire. This is why you see in Daniel this picture of the statue of the Roman Empire breaking up into several different pieces. It is representative of the legs of the statue, and the final empire is represented as the feet, which is a short period of time. It's the 7-year period, and the 10 toes of the 10 kingdoms. But notice how they are separated. They are not together like all the other empires on the statue. They are separate. The Roman Empire was divided, separated into different colonies. That's why the legs are broken up into iron and clay. And then the revived Roman Empire is the feet, which is the countries that used to make up the Roman Empire and their descendants, the clay and the iron, put back together but yet separate. I believe that is a division of the ocean, meaning they're in two different places but yet they're going to revive into one empire. America is on one side of the ocean, who was settled by Roman descendants who first settled Europe, then settled America. So when we revive, you're looking at a revived empire with America and Europe making up most of it. Now, if the end-time Babylon represents America within that Roman Empire, revived Roman Empire, you can see that the Antichrist can fulfill both those things. Many times in prophecy, people will argue one point or another, and they'll both seem right, and they don't realize that they're both right. Instead of arguing, well, because one is right, the other one is wrong, or vice versa, we should be saying, if they both are supported by the Bible, how do they both fit together? Then you will get an accurate picture of what to look for. This is what many fail to do, and what I am trying to show is that even though there are people saying different things about the end times, if the Bible supports it, let's figure out how they all fit together. Just like I do believe that Islam is the Antichrist end-time religion. If you study Islam and its prophecies, it directly parallels 100% with the Antichrist's end-time religion. I don't have time to go into all those details, but it directly parallels, and I believe that Islam is the end-time religion of the Antichrist. So understanding all these things, how can they all be true? Well, many would have said, how did Jesus come out of Bethlehem, but also come out of Egypt, and also be a Nazarene? Yet Jesus did all those things. Bible prophecy many times lays out several different scenarios in which all have to be fulfilled so that you are not confused that it is actually happening in your lifetime. Because the chances of all those things being fulfilled in one man are so low that when they are fulfilled, you can be assured that prophecy has been fulfilled. That is the same with the end times. You are looking for the king of Babylon, so we have to find out what Babylon is. I believe it is America. You're also looking for somebody who is going to have an end-time religion and the parallels to Islam, because I believe it is Islam that is the end-time religion. So you're looking for someone who has a link to Islam, and somebody that can come out of the revived Roman Empire that unifies, and someone that can bring peace between Israel and the Muslims. Now, that means the Muslims must like this person, and the Jews must like this person. For this person to be able to bring peace between them both sides would have to trust this person. Now, as we can see, somebody was just elected president of the United States who is loved by Jews and by Muslims. He also has the Muslim ties, which fits Bible prophecy. He also is rising up in America, which I do believe is Babylon, the economic hub of the world. And it looks as though he wants to bring in a one-world type-esque government, which would bring us and Europe together, in essence, making the revived Roman Empire. Let's continue on, though, with looking at Babylon specifically. Like I had said before, the beast hates the harlot, who has written on her forehead that she is representing Babylon, but she is also the church. This beast devours her, destroys her. And we say, well, how can this be if he's rising up through Babylon? Well, the Bible also says that the beast is the seventh kingdom, which many say is the final kingdom, but it says, and also the eighth. Many people skip over this and don't realize, hey, there's an eighth kingdom. Now, if the beast is the seventh and the eighth, and we know that the beast reigns for a 7-year period, that means in this period, you have to have a new empire, an eighth empire, evolve out of the seventh. Now, it says that the seventh and the eighth kingdom are one and the same, but yet they're different, obviously, because if one is the seventh and the other is the eighth, something changes about that seventh kingdom and becomes an eighth kingdom. I say this could easily be fulfilled by the Antichrist rising up through America, which is the Babylon of the end times, I believe, destroying it, but at the same time achieving world leader status so that when it is destroyed, his empire is moved over across the ocean, maybe into the Middle East, where the Muslims will embrace him. He probably would not come out as being supportive of Islam until the temple is built and he enters the temple and sits down on the throne and declares himself God. This is where the Jews get very upset because he has desecrated the temple, and there will be a rift between the Jews trusting this Antichrist figure at that moment. They will not trust him anymore, and I would believe this is more of his coming out party, that he has deceived the world, and then at that time he would embrace Islam. Now, it might not happen exactly this way. I'm just giving an overview of how these things fit. There is so much more evidence that can support what I am saying, but I do not have time to go into specifics or details, but I am available to do speaking engagements on this topic where I can become specific and point out the verses specifically and go into great detail proving that what I'm saying is supported immensely by the Bible. Please visit my website, thebenarmstrongshow.googlepages.com, and contact me if you're interested. Thanks, and be sure to pray for America.